cloudy today, but there are a ton of people outside. A lot of people taking pictures around cherry blossoms and so forth. And what's going on today? I guess this was kind of an interesting read. How about if some places in the US where they restrict, I guess, authority figures from using drones for surveillance purposes unless they have a warrant of sort? Would you agree with that? Well, dealt with this one here. Apparently it was the Missouri House Bill 178 relates to surveillance. By the sounds of it, it seems like it got mass majority support, and it says to repeal sections 542.527 and 577.800 RSMO and to enact in lieu thereof 6 new sections relating to surveillance with penalty provisions. So it relates to drones, and it's kind of interesting too on how they define, I guess, drones for this. For example, it says drone, any powered aerial vehicle that does not carry a human operator, uses aerodynamic forces to provide vehicle lift, can fly autonomously or be piloted remotely, can be expendable or recoverable, and can carry a lethal or non-lethal payload. It says manned aircraft, an aircraft that is operated by a human on board the aircraft, model aircraft, an unmanned aircraft that is capable of sustained flight in the atmosphere, flown within visual line of sight of the person remotely operating the aircraft, and flown for hobby or recreational purposes. So it sounds like they're trying to, I guess, distinguish between the two in this case here. So it seems like it was this part here. It says, no employee of a state agency or a political subdivision of the state shall place any surveillance camera or game camera on private property without first obtaining consent from the landowner or the landowner's designee, or a search warrant as required by and under Article 1, Section 15 of the Constitution of Missouri or the 4th and 14th Amendments of the Constitution of the United States. And then they completely crossed out this part, which I assumed before would be their way of saying as long as we have this, we could fly, I guess, the drones and so forth. It says, or permission from the highest ranking law enforcement chief or officer of the agency or political subdivision, provided that permission of the highest ranking law enforcement chief or officer of the agency or political subdivision is valid only when the camera is facing a location that is open to public access or use, and the camera is located within 100 feet of the intended surveillance location. So my guess would be normally this wasn't meant for things like drones, but because I guess people like law enforcement are using them, they kind of adjusted it. And specifically for unmanned aircraft before, it says the offense of unlawful use of unmanned aircraft over an open air facility shall be punishable as an infraction, which is crossed out, and they're changing it to is a Class A misdemeanor unless the person uses an unmanned aircraft for delivering a gun, knife, weapon, or other article that may be used in such a manner to endanger the life of an employee or guest at an open air facility, in which the case of the offense is a Class B felony, or delivering a controlled substance, as that term is defined under Section 195010, in which case the offense is Class D felony. And then it completely crossed this out, saying each open air facility shall post a sign warning of the provisions of this section. The sign shall be at least 11 inches by 14 inches and posted in a conspicuous place. I'm guessing the reason for that normally would be, oh, they read a sign there, so now you have to say you don't have to read the sign, I guess. Like, that's the law, that's my assumption anyways. So does this actually make a difference in any way? I'm not really sure, because there's actually a clause saying they could still use it in certain situations, which almost sounds like everything. It says, if there is an imminent threat to life or of great bodily harm, including but not limited to fires, hostage crisis, hot pursuit situations, if reasonably necessary, to prevent harm to law enforcement officers or others, and search and rescue operations on land or water. So yeah, again, that covers so many different things, and isn't that usually the times where someone would use like a drone, I guess, like a police officer or whatever? I guess that prevents them from looking out for, quote, just suspicious activities, but either way, it's too technical in a sense where if you really want to use it, someone could just say it was an emergency, I guess. And with that topic of drones, how about this one, where people are actually trying to pay people or entice them with money to do things with the drone that people don't want to normally? This one says the founder of a Fintech company in Ukraine is offering a $500,000 prize for the first to land a drone at Moscow's Red Square. A Ukrainian Fintech founder and drone developer is offering about $540,000 in prize money to the winner of a race to land a drone on Moscow's Red Square. Volodymyr Yasenko, the co-founder of Monobank, a Ukrainian online banking service, announced the competition in a Facebook post last week. The competition is open to any Ukrainian drone developers and will take place on May 9th, according to the Ukrainian Military Center. Why that date specifically? According to this, May 9th in Russia is Victory Day, a time when the country celebrates a Soviet victory over Nazi Germany. Yasenko himself is a developer of the Dovish drone, which will also attempt the flight to the Russian capital but will not be part of the competition, according to Forbes, a Ukrainian military news blog. I hope that this amount will be fairly divided between the manufacturer and the military operators who will successfully complete the task. So that's kind of interesting to think about, huh? Just use money as a way to get people to do, I guess, anything. Like in this case, trying to make a drone, I guess, to land in the square, as they say. Would you think that's appropriate for someone to do that, I guess? And this was everywhere today. Apparently, here it said the Dalai Lama apologizes after video shows him kissing boy asking to suck my tongue. Now, usually when you think of the Dalai Lama, you think of things like peace and all that. It says, in the video, a young boy approached the 14th Dalai Lama, also called Tenzin Gyatso, and asked for a hug. In response, the 87-year-old religious figure gestured to his own cheek and said, "First here." The boy kissed the Dalai Lama's cheek and gave him a hug. "I think here also," the Dalai Lama continued. He held the boy's chin and pulled his face forward for a kiss on the lips. There was applause as the Dalai Lama laughed. Holding the boy's chin, the Dalai Lama pressed their foreheads together for a moment. After he released the boy, the Dalai Lama said, "And suck my tongue," before sticking it out at the boy. Again, they pressed their foreheads together with the Dalai Lama's tongue still extended between him and the boy. The Dalai Lama then advised the boy to search for peace and happiness and avoid human beings who always kill other people. The pair hugged once more. So, as mentioned, because that video got released afterwards, a lot of people are saying he's a pedophile and all that. And there was, I guess, a message he posted here saying, a video clip has been circulating that shows a recent meeting when a young boy asked His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, if he could give him a hug. His Holiness wishes to apologize to the boy and his family, as well as his many friends across the world, for the hurt his words may have caused. His Holiness often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way, even in public and before cameras. He regrets the incident. So what would you say in this case? Do you think it was someone being playful, as mentioned here, or do you think it's a sexual predator per se? I guess you just never know, huh? I don't remember if I told the story before, but actually one of my former teachers, I found out in the news, apparently he sexually abused children and all that. It went through court, he admitted it. It's kind of crazy to think about, because there were times like where this person, I just thought, okay, it's just a teacher trying to be helpful and so forth, correct? He told me all this stuff, how he used to have things like an ice cream shop, which was true. And when I told people that, they said, yeah, I bet he had an ice cream shop to attract kids and so forth. It's just all these weird stuff that I think back where you don't think much about it, but in retrospect, it's wow, like look at all the signs I guess you had, but then again, how do you tell for a lot of people when it comes to this stuff, huh? All right, see you guys later.